How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli, with another episode of the podcast that's dedicated to your Colorado Avalanche. And as always, thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And on today's episode, we will continue our burning question week. And today we will be doing physicality. And that's kind of something that a lot of people talk about with Colorado Avalanche. Are they physical enough? A lot of people think that's the reason why they can't get past the second round. We'll kind of discuss that. And over on the Hockey Writers website, there is a article. I want to give the guy credit who wrote it. Marco, and I'm probably butchering his last name, Zlomislik, there we go, has three predictions that he put out in this article. And I think they're pretty good. One, I think, is going to get people riled up. One, I think people will say, well, actually, the other two people will agree with. And then I'm going to add one more, one of my own, for a bold prediction for this upcoming season. So first things first, follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Send questions, comments, concerns, opinions to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And check out the show's YouTube page. Just search Locked On Avalanche on YouTube and subscribe to that. All right. So burning question number 4, physicality. That's been the kind of, I don't want to say the arch nemesis of the Avalanche, but a lot of people think they are not physical enough. And when they get to the playoffs, like, you can make your way through a regular season and not be a super physical team. But once you get into the playoffs, things kind of kick it up a notch. And a lot of people feel that the Avalanche are not that team that plays a physical style of game, and it doesn't translate well once you get into the playoffs. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you look specifically, if you're going to look at the Vegas series, people want to say that Vegas was more physical than the Avs. It's how you want to break that down, because there were games, and I think the majority of the games, as far as hits go, the Avalanche out-hit Vegas. That doesn't tell the entirety of the story, because you probably would say, yeah, Vegas is, they're built, their game is more built around physicality before pretty much anything else. And they have really skilled players on that team. The Avalanche system is kind of built around speed and skill, and physicality is kind of down the totem pole a little bit. But I think the misconception here is that the Avalanche have to be the most physical team in the league. They don't have to be. There's nothing that's saying, like, because they're not, the style of play that they play is not of a physical one, then they, for some reason, need to ascend to the most physical team in the league. And that's not the case. They need to be more physical? Sure. Yeah, I think they do. And some people were thinking they're just going to go out and get all these bruisers, and then, then they can say that that's the only thing that they're missing is just being a little bit more physical. And yeah, that's the case. But I think what they've done, they've kind of reverted back a little bit more to the Nikita Zadorov days, because last year it was Ryan Graves. Ryan Graves was your muscle. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I thought he fit well with the Avalanche, but that's not the guy that I'm going to rely on to go settle scores. You know what I mean? And that's really what the Avalanche are looking for, because they are a physical team. They don't have any problem mixing it up. Nathan MacKinnon has no problem doing that. Gabe Landeskog has no problem doing that. Nazem Kadri has no problem doing that. On the defensive end, Eric Johnson really doesn't have a problem doing that. You now have Curtis McDermott, who is kind of that Nikita Zadorov player. And when Zadorov was on the team, you didn't hear about this, that they needed to be more physical. And it's like a catch-22, because when Zadorov was on the team, he kind of was a liability. He wasn't really, he's not an offensive threat. He did have some offensive skill. I thought he had a pretty nice shot when he was wide open, but he's not going to create for himself. And McDermott is not that type of player. But, he oddly enough, they're considering using McDermott on forward lines. That'll be interesting to see. But I kind of feel like they're more physical this year than they were last year. And again, this isn't to say that they are the most physical team in the league. And again, I don't think they need to be. They don't need that distinction. That's not their game. Their game is still built around speed and athleticism. And that's not going to change right now. And when you look at kind of like the makeup of their defense, just going on height and weight, yeah. McDermott is a beast at 6'5", 233. And then you have Jack Johnson, who after that one preseason game, we'll see what he can do. If he's on the ice against Minnesota tonight on Friday, he's 6'1", 227. Eric Johnson, 6'4", 225. Bo Byram, he is 6'1" at 190, so the weight's not there for him, but they're not going to ask him to do that. And if sometimes when he does get called up, Keaton Middleton, 6'6", 240. Big boy. So in the defensive end, like they have muscle. And then the guys I mentioned on the forwards, they're okay. So I think it's a misconception that they're not a physical team. They are. They don't want to play that way. They don't want that style. They don't want to be known for that style. They want to be known as a speed and skill type of team, which is what they are, which is they feel that they can win that way. They feel that they can win that way and have, some players that, yes, you do need to be physical in this sport, especially in the playoffs. And I'm pretty confident the Avalanche feel like they have addressed that because it wasn't there last year. It really wasn't. And yeah, sure, they with the Landeskog fight with Braden Shen, they'll do that. They're a hockey team. They're going to do that. And they'll do it again this year. But now they have kind of designated guys. Like Ryan Graves really wasn't that guy. Big body, really big boy. But he's really not that guy to want to go seek out a scrum. McDermott's got no problem doing that. So just having that one guy, kind of like that Zadorov, where people know they're still going to mess with you, but they know that, all right, McDermott's the one coming after me. Last year, it was like, we don't know who's going to come after me. So we'll just, throw cheap shots at, Mikko Rantanen, and who's it going to be? It happened to be Gabe Landeskog. So yeah, as far as physicality goes, people are going to talk about it. Maybe not so much in the regular season because things will get kind of pumped up more in the postseason. So that's something that people are going to watch when the postseason comes around for the Avalanche. Will they get beaten down again by a physical team? And if all these people that are here in this roster stay healthy, I think they can hold up just fine. So let me know what you guys think. But we are going to hear from BetOnline, and with another football season fully underway, all eyes are back on the gridiron. And BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline AG continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up, and you will receive a 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. And don't forget to use the promo code NFL100. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. It's BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. They are your online sportsbook experts. Also brought to you by DirecTV Stream. I want to tell you about a simple way to get all the entertainment that you love without the hassle. It's DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV on-demand favorites together like never before, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and television shows all in one place. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So stop waiting and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. And you can learn more at directtv.com. Once again, that website is directtv.com to find out more about DirecTV Stream. All right. So as I mentioned in the beginning, over at the Hockey Writers, Marco Zlomilslik, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, put up 3 bold predictions. And I always like these because the bold ones, people want to take these and run with them. Like, what are you talking about? But these are talking. These are for people who do a podcast to talk about, or just get the fan base going and maybe even riled up. So I'll save maybe his juiciest one for last. And the other 2, one of them I definitely agree with. The other one, I've been saying that pretty much all season. And the last one, yeah, we'll get to that. So his first prediction, well, it's not his first prediction in the write-up. It's actually his second. But he says that the Avalanche will break the franchise record for wins, which right now is 52 from the 2000-2001 team. I agree with that. And if you follow me on Twitter, I actually went through and predicted the score of every single game throughout the season. Yeah, I had nothing to do one day. So I did. I have a spreadsheet and we'll see where it goes. Like, predicted the score, the outcome of every single game. And I came up with 53 wins. So I have them just beating that. I have them with 53 wins and then 6 overtime losses. So that's 112 points that I have the Avalanche at for this season. But that does beat the franchise record by 1 win. I think that is very, very doable. And the Avs last year, and he does point this out, they had 39 wins in the 56 game season. That was on pace for 56 wins over the course of an 82 game season. So now the question is, do you think the team that they have now, with all the people that they lost and all the people that they gained, can recreate what they had last year? Some people would say no, because they feel like, the depth is not there. And that's something, that is another question that we tackled earlier in the week. But some people have the wait and see approach of, well, it's not the depth that they had last year, but you never know. You get new guys in a new city. Can they kind of reinvigorate themselves? And especially playing for a Stanley Cup favorite. So will it be 56? That would be a tremendous season. That's 112 points right there. Not including your overtime losses. But I think they could do this. I do. I think, and I don't think they would blow it away, but I think they could get, like I have predicted, 53, 54 wins. I think that is, they'd have to put together a great season, obviously, but I think this team could definitely do it. His next prediction is one that I agree with, and I've kind of been, I feel like he's just like the forgotten man because Cole Caulfield just came on the scene, and that is Alex Newhook will win the Calder Trophy. And I kind of feel, I feel like Newhook is kind of being forgotten. Even Byram is getting forgotten. I think between the two of them, Newhook is going to get more of an opportunity and get placed in a better scenario than Byram will. But with Newhook potentially playing on the second line, maybe he doesn't start there because we're seeing Nichushkin play on the second line a lot in practice anyway. But throughout the course of a season, you're going to see Alex Newhook on that second line without a doubt. And he makes a good point about, hockey's different because sometimes like these number 1 overall picks, excluding, your Connor McDavids of the world, are not put in the best possible situation. And it doesn't translate well to a good season that is a Calder-like season. Like Lafreniere, you know what I mean? Like, going to be a good player, but just he couldn't do much on a New York Ranger team last year, because you are kind of a result of the people around you. And with Newhook getting put in if he gets put in a line with guys like Burakovsky and Kadri, uh, he's going to benefit from that. And he also, and he makes his point too, he also could be on that second power play unit. Likely not going to be on the first one, but you get those last 45 seconds of a power play, see what you can do. So I agree. I think, having a rookie on a team like this, I don't know why my Google just went off, but having a rookie on a championship caliber team that is not going to be playing fourth line minutes, could be potentially top 6 minutes. You're gonna get points. It's just going to happen. So it's not, he's not going to run away with it by any stretch of the imagination. I think Trevor Zegras is going to have a phenomenal year, and yeah, Cole Caulfield will probably have a very good season, and they will be in the mix. But so will Alex Newhook. Maybe you could even go as far as to say, like, yeah, it's still a stretch for him to win it, but I think he would definitely be in the conversation for a nomination for the Calder Trophy at the end of the year. Finally, his number one prediction on his article, and he says Jared Bednar will get fired. So in order for that to happen, he must feel like the Avs are either not going to win it again and he gets fired after the season, or they're not producing well and gets fired mid-season. And he doesn't say that. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. He doesn't really say exactly when he feels. I don't think he did when he feels that Bednar will get fired. I'm assuming he thinks it's going to be like after the season if they don't win again. We can have that conversation. I don't think, it doesn't matter how bad the Avalanche, if the Avalanche are playing bad, I don't see them any way, shape, or form firing Jared Bednar middle of the season or at any point during the season. If they don't, well, how do we ask this question? If they do anything less than make it to the Stanley Cup final, I think the proverbial hot seat will be turned on for him. I think he's the best coach in the league. And if you want to call me biased on that, feel free. So, and I think Joe Sakic likes consistency. And I don't mean on the ice. I mean in the locker room, the people that are playing for the team. He doesn't want this revolving door. You're going to have revolving doors of players. That's going to happen. But he doesn't want this revolving door of coaching staff. So I don't think it's just going to be if the Avs, let's see if they like anything less than making the Stanley Cup final. If he makes the Stanley Cup final, I think he is safe. And I don't really even want to have this conversation right now because the season hasn't even started yet, but why not? But if they do anything less than that, I think there's going to be more people asking for it. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. I kind of, I'm guessing that's Joe Sakic's mindset, but that is my mindset. And maybe it's because growing up a Broncos fan and Mike Shanahan was there forever. I kind of feel like you stick with a coach, and if they're a good coach and they have the locker room, but sometimes they lose the locker room, and Jared Bednar hasn't done that at all. But in sports, it's like it always falls on the coach. And whenever the end comes for Jared Bednar, even if it's 5 years from now, it's going to fall back on him. So I think he can do it. It's unfortunate that's how it has to happen in sports, but I think what happened last year. Sometimes what they went through, what teams go through, like what the Avalanche went through last year in the past few years, and he has said it, is incredibly motivating. So this team is going to play with a chip on their shoulder all year long, and they're going to play for him. They love playing for him, and he is a very good coach. But does it just come down to there just needs to be a change of scenery and a change of scheme or something? That's for later in the year. We got to see how the year pans out. But if it happens again where they are second round eliminated, even in the conference finals eliminated, and at least don't make the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of people questioning how much longer do we keep them here. And again, that is not going to be me. So, all right, let's hear from Rock Auto, and then you'll get my kind of bold prediction on this season. So, with the ever increasing number of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So, save time and money and use rockauto.com. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer, and you can go explore their easy-to-use website and find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck right locked on in the How Did You Hear About Us section so they know that we sent you to them. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. All right, so my one prediction for this, not one, well, I guess my bold prediction for the Avalanche this season. And everybody always likes to want to throw kind of the usual suspects in when it comes to, your awards for the year. And I had talked about this last week. So for some of you, this maybe you've heard me discuss this a little bit in detail, but now I'm going to swing for the fence here. And everybody wants to say that, Nathan MacKinnon is a Hart Trophy candidate year in and year out. Sure. Cale Makar will be Norris. Sure. Kemper maybe could be in for the Vezina. And I had said last week when we were doing awards and saying how, Avs players could be in the mix for a lot of the main trophies with Coach of the Year, if Bednar has a good year, obviously. MVP, defensive, best offensive defenseman, all that stuff. And I kind of went through and said how an Avalanche player could be in the mix for each and every one of those awards. Could be in the mix. Not going to win them, but could be in the mix for all of them. And I had said for the Hart, we always look at Nathan MacKinnon, understandably so. And I think this is the year that people really look at Mikko Rantanen in conjunction with Nathan MacKinnon. And over the course of an 82-game season, another year under the belt that these guys have played together, they know each other like the backs of their hand. And a lot of people in Avalanche world were not all that surprised that Mikko Rantanen beat Nathan MacKinnon in the points department last year. So for a full season, they are tough to they're tough to scheme against, and they know exactly how to get themselves in good position to score a lot of points. And let's face it, when it comes to the Hart, that's what voters are looking at, our points. So I kind of maybe going off the beaten path here by saying that's what voters are looking for, because there's nothing saying that, Connor McDavid is going to be beaten by anybody for most points. But you hope that voters look at a little bit more than that and take the phrase, and you say this every year and it usually never happens, but you take the phrase valuable. And I think Mikko Rantanen is going to be the most valuable player, not only on the Avalanche this year, but in the entire league. I think he could pull kind of like a Leon Draisaitl. And, if Connor McDavid is Nathan MacKinnon, Draisaitl and Mikko Rantanen kind of coexist in that Robin mode. But look what Draisaitl did a couple years ago, and he got the Hart, mainly because he led the league in points. And I think Mikko Rantanen has the ability to do that. Lead the Avalanche in points, definitely. When a lot of people are cluing in on Nathan MacKinnon, fine, go ahead. He has no problem finding Rantanen and him piling up the assist while Mikko piles up the goals. But I think over the course of an 82 game season, Mikko Rantanen is going to put it all together this year. And obviously it goes without saying he's got to stay healthy. That's clear as that's basic knowledge. But I think Mikko Rantanen is your Hart Trophy winner for this season. And people are going to be looking at him like, wow, the Avalanche, they really do have a crazy team over there, because everybody wants to clue in on Nathan MacKinnon, and they should. But do not forget about Mr. Mikko Rantanen. So that is my bold prediction for the season. Mikko Rantanen is your Hart Trophy winner. And before we go, definitely want to throw out all the thoughts to Peter McNab over at Altitude. And I'm sure you've heard he announced yesterday that he was diagnosed with cancer. Didn't say what form, doesn't really matter. He has cancer, and this is something that he's going to fight tooth and nail, because he's a hockey player. And he's great in the booth. And I had talked to if you guys listen back to shows, talking to Connor McGahey off the air, Connor and I were talking about Peter McNab and how he said that man will just talk hockey for hours. He absolutely just loves the game. He loves being around it. That's why, I don't know how old he is, but he could retire if he wants, and he doesn't want to. He just loves being at the rink. He loves being around players. He loves announcing games, and he does it in he has tons of passion, obviously. But there's a video, and God, I think it was when the Avalanche won a game against Vegas. I think it was game 2 against Vegas, and Connor's going crazy. And this is obviously playoffs, so Peter McNab goes over to the radio side to call the game with Connor. And there's video of this where the Avs, I think it was the overtime game, that they won game 2 in overtime, I believe. And Connor's going crazy, and there's a camera there, and it pans. Connor's just, screaming his head off like only Connor can do. And right next to him is Peter McNab, hands in his pockets, big smile on his face, and just gives out one of these like fist bumps. Calm, cool, collected, seen it all before, but still it was the dynamic of like, yeah, Connor, the young, energetic, going crazy, and Peter McNab on the inside was doing what Connor was doing on the outside. You could tell. And he's great to listen to, incredibly knowledgeable. He's fun. He's funny. And it was kind of sad when I heard about it in the morning, like everybody else did. But he says he's going to power through and power on and still call games. And this goes to his sense of humor. Said he's going to do it with just a different haircut, maybe one like mine. But we are all pulling for Peter McNab, without a doubt. And not just the Avalanche community, the entire hockey community is pulling for him. And if anybody can make it through this, it's McNab. So we're all thinking of you. Who knows if he listens to the show, but we are all thinking of you, and we know you're going to come out on the other side of this thing. So that will be it for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in once again and making this your first listen of the day. Head over to Locked On NHL to make that your second listen of the day, because I'm over there too with Adam Denker, and we get into some predictions. We get into predictions for the season, and we kind of predict who's playing now, young guys, only in the league a few years, that are trending towards number retirement. So, go check that out. Locked On NHL. So that'll be it for today, everyone. I will have Kyle. Excuse me. I'll have Kyle on tomorrow. I'll have Kyle on tomorrow to discuss. Wow, I just swallowed like some dust or something. There we go. I'll have Kyle on tomorrow to discuss the final burning question, which is, Playoffs. Talked about them a little bit earlier with Bednar, but we will discuss the playoffs. Can the Avalanche power through this second round? So he's going to be on with me tomorrow to kind of wrap up our burning question week. All right, that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and making it through my coughing fit. So we'll see everyone tomorrow. Have a good one.